I mean, this is it. I'm already getting yelled at by my child. Welcome. It's been a while since I've even remotely thought about trying to do something like this. Well, we'll see who joins. And if not, this will just be a fun little guide of how I do Ruffs. So I wanted to show you what a Ruff is like when it's been starched. This is the Ruff before I put starch on it, and this is actually for my Venetian project over there. For this particular project, the Ruffs are actually on the shoulder, and so I am going to have a video that comes out that talks about how I went through the process of making that and starching it and all of that. But can you hear it? This is what it's like when it's been starched. I use tapioca. And then okay, so let's get started. What I usually do is I use a roll of paper towels, and what I do is I pin this with T-pins into it because it's easier for me. I know that historically speaking, they had like forms and stuff like that made out of wood and other things, but thank goodness for modern technology. So I'm going to begin by using my T-pins and sticking this Ruff, shoulder Ruff, Venetian shoulder Ruff. You gotta hand it to the Venetians, right? Because they were like, no. We need to do more. Always more, right? I see some people have joined. Hello. Yay. Welcome. Shout out to my son Benji. He said he was going to join. I do have the comment section on slow mode just because I don't know. I've been in lives before and sometimes things just speed by, and I'm not expecting like 50 people to show, but like it was just for my sanity. So I will get to your comments and stuff as we go. I can see them. Feel free to ask me questions. I may have the answers. I may not. Okay, so basically what I do is you put the starch on. It's like this gooey stuff. And then you let it dry overnight. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to reactivate it with some spray water and then use a curling iron to form it. And I am going to be using, hopefully this will work because I have burnt myself many times. I'm going to be using a glove to try to prevent burning. I know it's so sad. I totally promised some burning. Let's not. Okay. So yeah, let's get going. I don't know if I said so, but my name's Amber, and my channel is DSA Threads. And I forget things. Okay, I guess I'm gonna start. I'm just gonna start in the. Should I start in the middle? So I've never had a Ruff before that had to be done because it's this long. Had to be pinned like this. So I think I'm gonna start at the bottom here, and I am going to. Start out by spraying and then This is not the largest barrel I could get. And I like this one, this particular iron, because oftentimes they have the tips on them and then you have to take them off, and that's a pain. And so thank goodness we have these now where you don't have that issue. Yeah, like 20 seconds. I can't remember. I wasn't counting. Okay. And here we go. We have, I hope you can see this. Oh gosh, can you see it? Okay. We have our first circle thingy. Yay! And so I'm just gonna do that until it's done. And hopefully answer some questions along the way. I have some prepared. Yeah. So then I just do the next one. Hold it in place. Oh, can you see? Can you see? No. All right, hold on a second. Let me finish this one and then I will show you again. Look at my arm. Okay. So these T-pins are coming out. Why is that? I think it's because of the angle. I think they need to be like against. Okay, so yeah, we're starting to get the shape. After drying, okay. So I have a question here that says, so that's a figure 8. How long does it take for the ruff to dry after ironing? It's pretty quick. Like, I'm not spraying it a ton. It's pretty dry already. So I'm not getting it super soaked or anything. And then I'm going to actually, usually, sometimes, most of the time, I use pins to hold the pieces closed. But I think I'm actually going to use these alligator, no, they're not alligator clips. I don't remember what these are called. These little clippy things, they're great for everything. So I'm going to try using those to keep the sets in place. So yeah, they don't really take that long. And I'm just going to keep going. So I have a list of questions here that are not related to Ruffs, but are just more related to me. My 10-year-old wanted me to answer the question, how did I get so good at sewing? And I have imposter syndrome, so I would argue that I still have a lot to learn. But I have been sewing since I was 10. I got a Felicity doll, and I decided that I wanted to make all kinds of clothes for her, and so started using a singer. I think we had a singer, and went to Joann's, started that addiction early. And then when I was in college, I pretty much was just always sewing things. I would take apart my dress-up clothes. Like, I used to get like hand-me-downs and stuff, or like, random things from the 70s or whatever that people didn't want anymore. They weren't in style because I was a child of the 80s and 90s. And I would take them apart and turn them into more historical looking things. Like, I remember taking apart some kind of like corduroy garment and making my first bonnet when I was like 10 or 11. So I've always been sewing in some way, shape, or form. And then I did an internship with the Yale Drama School after college. I studied theater in college, and then did a little bit of professional work with some summer stock opera houses. And so pretty much I've been sewing this whole time, and then had children. And then, like that kind of makes it difficult to do things. But I started up in the middle of that just to, do something for me, and started doing historical costuming again, and was just like really excited about that. So that's how I have gotten to the level of sewing that I'm at now. Pretty much just always been a special interest. And I can show you, we have gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it goes pretty quickly. The other question that my 10-year-old asked me was, am I team panda or team duck? And I feel like if I don't answer this how he would want me to, I'm going to be in trouble. He's very much into pandas right now. He just said he heard that. Oh, man. Setting Ruffs. All right. Let's see. What other questions do I have on my list here? Where do I get my ideas for costumes? That's a good question. I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm on Instagram a lot, and sometimes I'm just looking at artwork, or I'm just always kind of looking at things, and sometimes there's just something about it and I'm like, oh gosh, I really want to like make that. It's not enough to look at it. I need to make it because I want to know how they did that. Like, for instance, in this project right now, this is more of like just a curiosity thing because I've already made a video about it, but like these fashions are pretty interesting. And so I just want to know, like, I feel like there's got to be a reason why people found this stuff appealing, right? And there's just something about the, like, I don't know, the psychology of it. The reason why people make choices that they do. And like how, you could take something and it doesn't look necessarily appealing to you, but like when you actually make it and it becomes clothing, you're like, oh, I get it now. So that's kind of why I'm doing this project. And also it gives me a chance to make ruffs, which honestly, it's a lot of fun to do this. And I'm not burning myself. Yay. Also, feel free to ask questions if you want. I'm just happy that some of y'all are here. There are so many events this weekend. There are so many things that people are at right now. 8 9 is Butte, Mississippi. So there are a couple of places that I learned how to do this from, but mostly Noel from the Elizabethan Costuming Group, which I'm going to give a shout out to. I want to be able to pronounce his name correctly, but I didn't get to him in time to ask him. And I don't want to say it and it like not go great. So, but anyway, I will change a link eventually on this video so that I can actually, change the description so I can put the link on there. I didn't put it in there, but he has a paper that pretty much describes the whole process of doing this. And I'm pretty sure that Couture Courtesan made a video about making ruffs, and even has like a couple of other videos about ruffs. So that's another good place to look if you want to make one yourself. And like I said, I'm going to be making a video. I mean, I just filmed the making of this, so I just got to get the editing together and do it. Hello. Yes, thank you for saying the name. Thank you for typing it in. That is very smart. Thank you for being very useful and helpful. Thank you. I don't know what we would do without Noel. I mean, oh, can you hear it? Can you hear the ASMR? Look at it. It's like steaming up. I mean, I'm like almost halfway done here. It's been like 16 minutes. This may not take as long as I thought. I will say that the only thing about these that I'm noticing is that the plastic may not be conducive with the heating element. So it's so far not an issue, but if you leave it on there too long, it may not be so good. Maybe that's why pins are better. Or you know what? Maybe I should get those like little tiny wooden clothespins. I bet you anything those would be just as helpful. And it just got a message, and he did not tell me how he pronounces his name. That's really funny. Alrighty. Yes. Okay, so someone wrote, go to the first section of the Elizabethan group and search Ruffs. Yes, absolutely. There's so much information in there. All kinds. That's a really great group. It's on Facebook, just so that you know. And I'm not a fan sometimes of social media, but that group in particular is very good. There's a lot of really great info in there. And I also get a lot of my info from other obsessed humans in the 16th century Italian Renaissance group workshop, I think is what it's called. That's where I kind of go to geek out on all of the Italian Renaissance stuff, because people are always finding new artwork and stuff is going up on auction. So I guess that's another way that I sort of get ideas, because we're always thinking and coming up with new ways of doing things, or exploring how other ways that things could have been done, and it's just cool. Alrighty, so here you can see that we are starting to get that figure 8 shape. Oh, it looks like I missed one. Hold on. And I'm running out of clips, so I think at some point I don't know if I'm going to stitch them together or not. It depends. I'm going to wait until I'm done, and I'm going to put them on the shoulder and sort of get an idea of where I want. I don't know if this is like the first time for some of you for visiting, but welcome. I have some other questions here. Let's see. So we talked about Team Panda or Team Duck, and I think we're going to have to say Team Panda. This is very important information. Another question is, why are you making this channel? Why do you do historical costuming? That's a really good question. It just happens to be this thing that I'm just really interested in. And I don't know. I guess, like I was saying before, like there's just something about the thought process behind why people made the choices that they did that I find really interesting. And I also think that there's a lot of stories in historical costuming history that have not been told. And there's something to me that part is interesting to me too. Just both in the aspects of like making things in this community, like I obviously do commentary about the process for me and what it's like, and then and also just the process that people would have historically gone through to make things and why they made them. So that's kind of why I do what I do and kind of what's driving the videos that I make. And it's nice because every time I make a video, I learn something, which is really important to me. Sometimes you go back and you do something that you've done before, like this, and you learn something new about it in the process. Or you meet new people. Hi. I would say though that I started doing this. I started really making costumes like for myself for historical like not reenactment for events and stuff. Gosh, like I think my first thing was in 2018 really. I think before that I made a Curdle, so 2017, 2018. And then of course, you know, the world happened. And so it's been a very slow process of discovering what things to go to because we haven't really been able to go to things. Like just a lot happened, obviously. So I don't think I've even used wheat starch before. And I know that's generally what people use and what they would have used. I just always had tapioca starch for whatever reason. And so I was like, well, this works. You know what? That's it. I have one of these left. So I'm going to have to start pulling from down here, I think. So I can keep going. But yay, we've made it to halfway through. I didn't have much planned for this. I just thought it would be cool to see how actually people do this. And there's something about the repetitiveness of it that's just kind of nice. I was kind of surprised by just how well the starch works because it really does hold its own. I have yet to restarch any of the Ruffs that I've made actually. Because, I mean, yes, I'm not wearing them every day to Ren Fair or anything, but they're still just fine. Okay, other questions. Wow, geez, I feel like I've gone through most of these. I need to slow down. I think I always underestimate just how quickly I talk. Or like how much time 16 minutes feels like. That's okay. And if this is your first time, welcome to DSA Threads. Do I want to use pins? Okay. It's okay. I have been honestly pretty scared to do a live. People make it seem so easy. All right. Here we go. We've got more going on. Okay, so we have another question here. Is the Ruff still damp with starch, or was it dry when you started? Yes, it is dry. I starched it yesterday, and then let it dry overnight. If you go back after this is done and you watch the beginning, I actually did some ASMR while I showed it next to the microphone, because it's not going to be as stiff right now because it's been, sprayed just a little bit with water to reactivate it. But yes, it is dry, or it started out dry. And now I'm doing just a little bit, just a small spritz of water, and then sticking the iron in there and wrapping it around it. And it's nice because it gets all the wrinkles out, makes it nice and crisp. I hand stitch most of the stuff that I make. I'm not really a fan of the sewing machine. I don't know why. I don't know, because it's noisy. I don't have as much control. And when I'm doing things with my hands, it's like, I don't know. Makes more sense to me. Makes more sense to my brain. And I guess I can talk about the process of making the other parts of this too, even though I'm going to come out with a video that's probably going to be a little easier to understand than just me talking about it. But so it's made out of linen. And what I did was, you cut strips, you kind of try to gauge how much you're going to need. I know that there's an equation. I did not use one. I just sort of looked at how much I needed, which was about 20 inches to go all the way around my sleeve. And then just went the full length of the linen that I had from selvage to selvage. And it was very long. So I was lucky because I only needed like 2 strips, stitched those together. And then you roll hem the whole thing before you gather. Then you gather with 2 lines of basting stitches along the other side, and then gather it into a band, as I've done here. I actually decided to do a small band this time, but that's because, ordinarily if it was going on my neck, I would do something much wider. But because this is going to be going on a sleeve, and I'm still sort of figuring out how I'm going to create attachments for the sleeve to the shoulder, I need as much space as possible in the sleeve. That's why I made the binding so small. And then you starch. And the starch process is actually not that scary at all. I just used the microwave. I believe that it's 2 scoops to 1 cup of water. You stir that up a little bit, And then I just put it in a bowl and I stick it in the microwave for 30 seconds. And then what was I talking about? 30 seconds, then you take it out, you stir it. So it's kind of like if you're trying to melt chocolate in the microwave, if you've ever done that before. So you take it, you kind of just go 30 seconds by 30 seconds. And then at some point it turns from like looking like milk into goop. Actually I have some. This is a day old, obviously, but it's pretty much still looking exactly like like it did. It's just a little bit more stiff. Oh God, I can't even show it to you. It's not coming out. Okay, it's actually a lot more stiff than it usually is. Usually it's got a very nice consistency. But anyway, like I said, this stuff is very strong. I think for me it's usually like 3. It's usually like 3 times in the microwave, I think. But you check between every 30 seconds. So you don't want to cook it too much, I think. I don't know. So we have a question here about storage of Ruffs. That is a good question. I know some people use hat boxes when they are traveling, which is a great idea if you want to protect them so they don't get smashed. I don't generally do that, and they've survived. So again, I'm not traveling a bunch, but like, I don't have a lot to say about storage of Ruffs, I guess. I have a closet and I, hang them up on, whatever, or I have like a shelf and I just lay them on my shelf. Or, you can put pins in your walls and hang them on your walls. You can leave them on your... So I know that when people travel, they sometimes use hat boxes, which is a great idea. And thank you for asking that question. Thank you for giving me things to say. So these aren't that scary. I know I was a little intimidated at first, especially when I was making the starch because I had never witnessed it before. And I was like, what? Am I doing this right? What is this? And I actually made my first Ruff and it was huge. And I, was like, okay, this is a bit big. Is this normal? But, sometimes they did that. Obviously, they were not scared of the size of Ruffs. Pretty sure. Ooh, this one's going right through my glove and kind of... I don't think it's burning me. No. We're good. Oh, yeah, you're welcome. The starch getting moldy. So far I have not seen that happen, but I don't know what weather you're in. What weather are you in? I mean, I'm in North Carolina and I've got air conditioning. So if you are, I guess it depends on your location and if you have a temperature controlled environment. I don't know what they did. But I imagine if it started to get moldy, they would just launder it. They would launder it, they would wash it, and then they would reset it, which, they had companies to do that. They outsourced that stuff. You would go to a Ruff setter. So that's another thing that I have to think about sometimes when I'm making the stuff that I'm making and, it's all convenient for me. It's always good to remember, like, okay, but would this have made sense for them? Because they needed to do laundry. You wear this maybe 2 times. So just remember. I think that's something that was coming up for me when I was, experiencing this dilemma with how I was going to make these sleeves, because yes, I could just do the theater thing. I could just quick rig it. I could just make them however. But there's a part of me still that still wants to be able to make these in a way that would be somewhat feasible. And so the idea of having something like this that requires this kind of work and it not be detachable, it just didn't make any sense to me. I was like, no, they need to be able to take this off. And they did whip stitch, or, just sort of create, put things into things. With basics, just whipping it in, like rough cuffs and stuff like that, and then take it out. But it's in terms of it being built into the sleeve, like I was originally thinking, I was like, I don't know about that. So you need to be able to do your laundry. Oh, you live on the West Coast, okay. So then you might need to wash, you might need to launder, and you might need to reset more often. But again, I mean, good on you if you're wearing a ruff every day. I think I'm actually going to finish this whole thing by the time we're done. I have this much done already. And then I just have this small amount here left. So I'm just going to keep going along. Thanks for joining me and hanging out. Because this is what we do, right? We spend our evenings making things like this. Although I guess if you're on the West Coast, then it's not evening yet. For me, I have maybe a couple more hours before the sun goes down. So I thought, oh, it would be good to do this in front of these big windows I have here in my sewing space. And also, I don't want to be up until there's a certain time of day where this just shuts down, and that would be around probably 9 o'clock. So I prefer to do these kinds of things a little earlier. Oh yeah, cookie tins. That makes sense too. You can store them in cookie tins as well. And we all have those. I mean, I don't know what it is about tins and storing your notions and your pens and stuff, but I have, this is from my tea. I was like, oh, that's definitely got to be used. That's got to be used for sewing stuff. So where are all of you from? If you want to say, go for it. Like I said, I'm in North Carolina, and it is getting to the point where we would like to see some fall at some point, please. Hi, you are also in North Carolina. Yay! So I'm so excited that I've solved the issue of getting burned by just using a glove. It's not worth getting burned. I'm so excited about this dress, honestly. This fabric is so beautiful. Yay, you're also ironing fabric. Do not get burned. But I would very much like for fall to show up sometime soon. It would be good for me. That's my favorite holiday. And also a much more friendly holiday season. There's a much more friendly time for costuming as well. That's the other thing is I started costuming when I was living in Florida. And of course I chose, nobility Italian Renaissance, which is like nothing but silk. And silk is like the warmest thing you can wear. So I'm always still, I think, in that mindset when I'm making things where I'm just like, how can I reduce the layers? How can I like make this as cool as possible? And obviously with like, the changing temperature, it's definitely warmer now than it has been. It was at that time. And so I remember when I finished the IRCC 10 and I was like, oh my gosh, I can wear this. I think it was like March. And, I was here in North Carolina and I was like, oh my gosh, like I can actually go out and it feels nice and I'm not sweating a ton. Oh, Sacramento. I am originally from California, but I moved away from California when I was like 9. I was born in San Diego. And I have family like all over the place there. And November is my favorite holiday. Holidays. Why do I keep saying that? November is my favorite month because it's my birthday month. So I guess that's why I like the fall. Nice. More people from North Carolina. Awesome. I was not expecting the summers to be this hot here. So yeah, like I said, I was in Florida and I was in South Florida. So so I somehow just assumed, oh, North Carolina won't be as hot in the summer, right? It's pretty hot. Slightly less humid. Oh, we have a question. I did not know that. Did I know that the outrageous double ruffs were banned in UK Parliament in the 1500s? I did not know that. Boy, they really cared how people dressed. I mean, obviously we have all these sumptuary laws and stuff, and like, no, you cannot dress higher than your station and all of that. I believe it. People must have been looking really good, and they were like, no, you're not allowed. Double ruff sounds cool to me. I also like the phase for ruffs where like they just sort of say screw it, and it's like all ruffled and like disheveled and everything. Like I love that too. And then of course, there's the like humongous ruffs, and it's just like this is ridiculous, and it's ridiculous, but you're doing it because it's ridiculous. Like I actually have a project that's taking me from. Let's just show you a second. So this is the biggest ruff that I've made so far, and I'm slowly going in and making the lace on my embroidery machine and then attaching it slowly. In an ideal world, I would have done the attaching of the lace before I, did all of the ruffling and gathering and sticking into the band. But I'm really hoping that eventually this will become like, like one of the really big ones. And maybe I'll even make myself like a stand so that it really stands up and I can get like the whole dinner plate effect. We are almost done, my friends. And it has been 45 minutes. And it has been lovely. And I highly recommend doing a live where you have something to do with your hands. I always think that the lace that I make for these ruffs, that it, like, I only need a little bit, and then I put it on there and it's like 3 inches. And I will say, thank you. Yeah, I think it is going to look really cool. I will say that I also constantly underestimate how much time it even takes to stitch out on the machine. Like, obviously, making lace on a machine is going to be faster than, actually making it by hand. It's just, going to take months and months and months. But I always underestimate like how long it's going to take on the machine. And I have the number right there. Like, it's telling me the number, but it tells me in minutes. And some reason my like brain does not compute. And so like some of these designs that I've made, they take like 4 hours. I know that doesn't seem like a lot of time, but when you're impatient or if you're trying to make something for someone and they need large quantities, it's like, yes, this stuff still takes a little time. Like, I'd still have to make like, it's like 1 sheet a day with all of the other things that are going on in my life. So all right, I think we are done. We are done. That is it, my friends. Here you have a beautifully formed ruff. And I'm like, should I take it off yet? I don't know. Because like it's cooled down over here, but I don't think it's really fully cooled down over here. This is a little wet. Maybe I'll go in and just evaporate it really quick. I'm going to take these out because perfecto. No, I got that one too wet. It's not going to dry for me really quick. I was going to take it off and see how it can look like on my shoulder. I guess we were just going to have to wait until the video comes out and you guys see it all together when it's all finished. I wish I could show it to you now, but I don't want to risk it not setting really well. It needs to dry. So thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out for a little bit. Thank you for joining me, and yeah, I think we are good. So again, I'm Amber, and this is DSA Threads, and I like making historical costumes, and I like the process of making historical costumes, and I'm making that right now. And yeah, take care. Have a good night. If you're having a long weekend, enjoy. And if you're not, yeah, the world. All right, take care. Bye.